Rutgers loses at Nebraska on Sunday night, 67-56. And what was, it was an up and down game. It was a frustrating game. It was a game in which Rutgers didn't give up, and they cut it to six late. They trailed by as much as 17 in the first half. They were down 15 in the second half. They really struggled offensively, and yet there they were hanging around. In large part due to inspiring performances from the bench with Gavin Griffiths and Antoine Woolfolk, both of which had their roles reduced in the previous game and in recent games as well. So to see both of them play big roles tonight was encouraging, but just very frustrating coming down to, I think, a lack of cohesion offensively, which has been there all year. Started the game 0 of 8 from the floor, fell down 8-0, and certainly didn't get a good feel from there. And recovered, but it also failed them down the stretch. I mean, they held Nebraska without a field goal for the last 5+ minutes of the game, and they only outscored them 8-7. So that's a big problem. And they certainly had a chance to spoil senior night for Nebraska, who really needed this win to secure their NCAA tournament chances. I think they need to win at Michigan next week to really clinch it. But certainly their best team in years. Casey Tominaga, killed Rutgers. When Rutgers cut it to 6, he went on his own 7-0 run and really kind of just extended the game to the point where they couldn't get back to that point. And credit to Rutgers never fell apart, but I saw some tweets, people criticizing the effort of the team. I mean, listen, they did not. I will say this: they did not play with the intensity and the effort needed to win that type of game. Tominaga and Alec had more will, desire, effort than anyone on the floor. And Rutgers, when you're on the road in conference play, you have to be able to you have to at least be able to match your opponent, and really to win on the road, you have to exceed it. And Rutgers wasn't good enough in that department. I wouldn't say that they didn't play hard. I mean, they certainly, they fought back into it, and I thought that certain guys played very hard. But they didn't get enough contributions as a team. They didn't have enough balance. Offensively, like I said, they really struggled. Nebraska wants you to shoot threes. They were really good at closing off driving lanes. They really frustrated Rutgers in that regard. Rutgers did not do a good enough job with spacing, with ball reversals. They were too clumped up at times. Cliff was kind of like in no man's land at times offensively. I thought this is one of his poorest games of the season. Just did not have it tonight at all. And, Rutgers took a lot of contested shots, and from three, what were they? 4 of what? Oh boy. They were 4 of 25 for 16%. They were 33% from the floor overall. So that's 17 of 39 from 2. That surely isn't good. Let's see what they were on layups and dunks. They were 13 of 19 on layups and 1 of 1 on dunks. So 14 of 20. I mean, 70% at the rim. Oh boy. So what were they mid-range? I mean, that is really bad. 14 of 20 at the rim. And overall, let's see, 18 to 45, 3 of 19 from essentially 5 feet away from the rim to inside of the arc. That's brutal. And that's been kind of as poor of shooters as Rutgers has been from behind the arc and how they've struggled near the rim. It's that mid-range that just has been just really poor this year. And tonight was no exception, unfortunately. But, plenty to talk about here. I think Rutgers held Nebraska to 41% shooting. Their defense really stepped up in that second half. Rebounding-wise, they were much better in the second half. They were minus 12 at the half. They were finished minus 4 for the game. Nebraska was killing them on the offensive glass in the first half. Rutgers kind of reversed that in the second half. They finished, in terms of offensive rebounds, they finished with 19, +5 over Nebraska, but just 13. I think that's the key. They had a lot more offensive rebounds. They had a lot more turn, forced turnovers. I talked about that in my preview. That Rutgers has the profit in both of those areas, and they didn't enough. They didn't have a plus enough margin to really challenge for this game. They were just they were even on points up for turnovers. I mean, Nebraska had 14, Rutgers had 9 turnovers, and they were even 9-9 in points off of them. So that's not good enough. And then second chance points, Rutgers had 5 more offensive rebounds and only had a 13-12 edge in second chance points. So when you shoot 4 of 25 from three, they held Nebraska to just 9 of 27 from three. That was a good job there. But Nebraska 13 of 27 from two. They were 14 to 20 from foul line. Rutgers again struggled from the foul line, 10 of 19. They were 8-1 in transition. But Rutgers just could not get a flow going. I talked about a lack of point guard. Jeremiah Williams has brought a lot just in terms of his ability to get downhill, and he is unselfish, and he has a sense of what offense should be. And the more I started watching this game and just kind of thought about it, it's like I feel like Rutgers they don't have enough guys on offense that have a good feel. It's not just a lack of getting out of ISO and sharing the basketball. It's just getting into rhythm and proper shot selection and all that. It's just there's not a lot of feel. And when you don't have a true point guard, that's exacerbated by that. And I think that's a big root of the problems. I know everybody wants to say they can't shoot. They really struggle shooting the ball, but you can see when they're in rhythm, the lesser, they're in rhythm less so than not. But when they are, they can hit shots. Cliff, not enough touches at all tonight. I didn't think he was aggressive enough. I didn't think he was assertive enough down low. He was just, let's see, shooting wise, Cliff was 2 of 3. 2 of 3, 3 shots. I mean, part of that is on Rutgers getting him the ball, but I did think he was out of position a lot. That some of that had to do obviously with Nebraska. Mass defended him much better tonight, but just 2 of 3 from the floor, 2 rebounds. Not a good night for him. Andre Hyatt just had 2 points, 1 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 5 from 3. Had 4 rebounds. JaMychal Davis had 0 points, 0 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 3 from 3. Derek Simpson, 4 points on 2 of 10 shooting. Just 1 assist for him. I mean, those 4 guys, Davis and Simpson just had one assist. It really was Jeremiah Williams, Griffiths and Wolf, who I want to get to, and then Fernandez. Those were the kind of the standouts tonight. Austin Williams also, I thought, gave them quality minutes off the bench. But that's just not enough. I mean, three bench players and a starter. Is that 4 bench players? 4 bench players and a starter gave you your best effort, best performances. 4 starters did not give Rutgers nearly enough, and that has been a huge problem for a while now. Let's look at the plus minus and the individual stats. So Griffiths, right? He obviously has been struggling, but Pico's really stayed with him, played him a lot of big minutes, did not come into the game against Michigan on Thursday until 13 minutes to go in the game. The issue was no longer in doubt. And, he to see him respond the way he did tonight, 21 minutes, he missed some shots. I think his shot selection still is questionable at times. It's a little maddening. He even made one from like 25 feet that was questionable. But, he's trying to make something happen. But just I thought, again, going back to flow and rhythm and like instincts, I thought he's looking more comfortable. He's looking more in rhythm. Defensively, he's playing tougher. He's playing stronger. He had 2 blocks tonight. He had a hard foul at the rim. He's willing to go inside. He had a nice layup he made at one point. He finished with 10 points, 3 rebounds, and he let's see. I just did something here. He 10 points, 3 rebounds, and also was 2 of 6 from 3, which was good. Would have liked to seen him a little bit more, hit more shots than he took. He did have those 2 blocks. I said 3 rebounds. But he was +3, which was the second best on the night. Austin Williams had the best at 16 minutes. He was +7. He had 4 points, 7 rebounds, and a steal. Antoine Wolfolk, let's talk about him. I mean, he didn't play for 3 or 4 games. He came out tonight. He outplayed Cliff by a wide margin, 9 points on 4 of 7 shooting. He was just 1 of 5 from the line, which hurt. But he had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and he had a steal in 18 minutes. He was even. So it was really encouraging to see him come out and play the way he did. It's just good. Like when you have 2 younger players like that, lose roles a little bit and struggle, and then they step up on the road in a game that you have to have, and really kept Rutgers in this game for a large part of the game. It's really encouraging. That's positive. I mean, that's what we wanted to see. So I think Gavin's starting to figure some things out. Antoine has had some moments here and there, but to see both of them step up was important. Jeremiah Williams again, was pretty much the only thing Rutgers can count on offensively right now. Noah Fernandez was real hot coming into the game. I had talked about him in the preview. He was just 2 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 7 from 3, but gave him 7 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals off the bench in 23 minutes. That's productive. Wish he was a little more efficient shooting wise, but he again is doing things within the flow of the offense and knows how to play. But just simply not enough. And it's discouraging in the sense of Rutgers clinches its first losing season in Big Ten play in 5 years. With more efficient offense, with more cohesiveness, and able to take advantage of opportunities, off of turnovers, on offensive rebounds. Rutgers could have won this game. Nebraska was not unbeatable in this game. And, I think Rutgers made them a little more uncomfortable than they expected. So disappointing for sure. Now you go to Wisconsin on Thursday. A lot of teams only have 1 game left. They're playing next weekend. They're going to host Ohio State on senior night on next Sunday. It is actually a day game, but Ohio State's done now. They beat Michigan. They're on a roll. They've won 4 or 5 since Chris Holtman's been fired. Rutgers goes to Wisconsin, who's been struggling. I think they've lost 6 of 8. Obviously, they beat them at the rack, so that's going to be an intriguing game. I said last week, I feel like Rutgers matches up well against Wisconsin. I really do. I think there is something positive to take from this game, that this team realizes that, could realize that they missed some opportunities, that they could have won this game if they played well enough. They weren't that far off, and they didn't play particularly well. So if they go to Madison and, are just execute at a higher level, and they're going to play a team that doesn't play nearly as fast, that isn't nearly as dangerous from 3, or as that's a game I feel like they should have confidence going into, and I feel like they could steal a game in Madison on Thursday, and then you go into Ohio State. It obviously would be huge for them to end the regular season on a positive note, win these next 2 games, finish 9-11 in the league. Certainly running out of time in terms of looking like a bottom 4 team in the Big Ten. So no bye at all in the Big Ten tournament coming up. But you still have a chance. I mean, there's a pile up there. If you win both your games next week, you could finish as high as I think 8th. And even if they just split, they get some tiebreakers here and there. So, to get to the NIT, they probably have to win these next 2 games, if not go on a pretty significant run in the Big Ten tournament. I don't know what any of that means. I just am honestly looking and judging this team game to game, and you have no idea what to expect next season. You have no idea who's going to return. Steve Peichel, I thought, little bit of a, interesting comment in the radio after the game. We have another tough one coming up against Wisconsin. Hopefully, maybe Mawat will be back. I think that's interesting. I think it's, obvious that, he doesn't have a injury that has been deemed out, for an extended period of time. So whatever he's dealing with, it seems like he could be close. He's now missed 4 of 6 games. I honestly, I don't know. I'm not counting on him to play again. Read Steve Peichel quote however you may, but it obviously seems like they're really hoping he can play. He hasn't been able to play, and they obviously miss him. But I thought certain guys stepped up tonight and showed some promise, and other guys didn't. and Rutgers has just lacked consistency all season. It's very frustrating. Yeah, this was a game that if they had been in more sync together, they could have won. But poor shooting and bad decisions on offense, poor shot selection, bad spacing, not enough patience, it just resulted in what did they shoot? 33% from the floor. Another poor game for them. 32.8%. 16 from 3 point, 52.6 from free throw line. I mean, honestly, it's a miracle they lost by 11. That's a terrible shooting clip. 33, 16, and 52. That's crazy. Again, they didn't play defense as elite as they can and need to, but they weren't terrible. The fact that they were even in this game, I think, how poorly they played offensively is I guess you could say a positive. The poor starts are killing them. They're just who tweeted it at me. I have to give them credit here, and I'm just going to go on a limb and trust them. It was Matthew Cohen tweeted at me. This is the 13th game this season where RU was trailed by double digits in the first half. Can't just keep spotting teams' huge leads and expect to win games. He's absolutely right. It's a huge problem, and it sunk him once again. So, listen, every game matters. I'm trying to stay on a micro level and just focus on what this team is giving game after game, as this season is what it is right now. And I'm hopeful that they can string together, a couple more exciting moments and make a little bit of run in the Big Ten. Win a game or two before this regular season is over, and finish with some respectability. I think that there's enough guys on this team that have pride and are playing hard, and it's just a matter of execution. So thanks so much for listening and watching here at the Scarlet Faithful once again.